Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are strapping on our dragon claws and heading into one of the most unpredictable high-stakes environments in the gaming world.
The old school RuneScape wilderness.
Exactly. And our mission today isn't just about survival, it's about profit. Massive, sometimes astronomical profit.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into player-killing PKing, and we're specifically looking at it as a method for generating, well, unbelievable amounts of in-game currency, or GP.
And this is a crucial topic because PKing operates on a totally different financial model than pretty much anything else in OSRS.
How so?
Well, if you're skilling or you're running, say, a predictable PVM route, you can calculate a fairly stable GP per hour. It's consistent, sure, but it's capped.
Okay.
PKing has none of that consistency. It is pure volatility. It all depends on your skill, your luck, your specific account build, and, your strategy in the heat of the moment.
That volatility is exactly what I want to dig into. That's the hook, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about potential earnings that make steady skilling look like, well, pocket change.
It really does.
I keep seeing these clips, these whispers about the absolute top end of this. What kind of earnings are we really aiming for? If someone masters this brutal learning curve, what's the aha moment for our listener?
The maximum potential is genuinely extraordinary. It's what draws in the most aggressive players.
Okay.
We have documented cases of top-tier, really seasoned PKs who hit a genuine hot streak.
Right.
Maybe they secure 3 or 4 massive kills back-to-back, and during that window, they can actually exceed 50 million GP per hour.
50 million GP per hour. That's just staggering.
It is. And that figure, you have to understand, is the absolute ceiling. That's the lightning strike.
What's a more realistic number? Let's bring it back down to earth a bit.
Okay, so it's a sustained, realistic average. If we look at a genuinely skilled player, not a professional, but someone who's good, and we account for the deaths, the gear losses, the downtime.
On the costs?
All the costs. That sustained profitability, it lands somewhere between 5 and 20 million GP per hour.
Which is still exponentially higher than almost any other method in the game.
Absolutely.
That potential is the draw then. But if we're guiding a learner, we have to start with a reality check. This isn't some golden ticket, is it? It sounds more like a financial meat grinder if you're not ready.
That's a perfect way to put it. And the initial warning is non-negotiable. It's based on cold, hard GP loss.
Which is?
Expect to lose your gear a lot.
Right.
You'll die while you're learning the mechanics, while you're perfecting your inventory switches, figuring out who to target.
So the first step isn't profit, it's loss mitigation.
Precisely. The first and most important part of building a successful PK bankroll is focusing entirely on low-risk setups, where your loss is, negligible. You have to accept those losses as an unavoidable cost of education before you can ever think about that 20 mil per hour average.
An investment paid for in lost gear. Okay, so let's unpack that strategic foundation. You said it's more than just stats. What makes a successful, profitable PKer in 2025? It sounds like it's a mix of game mechanics, psychology, and resource denial.
It's all about maximizing your efficiency and, crucially, minimizing the risk-to-reward ratio for your target. So the first step, before you even think about gear, is effective target selection.
You're not just looking for any player.
No. You're looking for what we call juicy targets, players who are carrying way more risk than they realize.
And how do we categorize these juicy targets? Give me the checklist.
We can break them down into 4 key profitable categories. First up, you have your PVMers, player versus monster players.
The farmers.
The farmers. These are people deep in the wilderness farming revs, hunting black chinchompas, or doing the high-value wildy bosses. They are geared for PVM, not PvP.
And they're tunnel-visioned on the monster.
Completely, which makes them vulnerable. They're optimized for PVM risk, not PvP survival.
Okay, who's next on the list?
Second, you have bots. They are super predictable, they run pre-programmed routes, and this is critical, they often carry valuable, noted items.
We'll circle back to why noted is so important. What's the third category?
Third, there are noobs or over-risked players. This is the player who's wearing, a 10 million GP setup in level 15 wilderness to do a quest.
Someone who just doesn't know any better.
Exactly. They are prime candidates for a high-value, very quick flip.
Okay, so you found your target, you engage, the fight immediately becomes about resource management, right?
It does, both yours and theirs.
And that brings us to what feels like a fundamental mechanic in all of this. The smite prayer.
Smite is absolutely critical. It's a concept that beginners often misuse or just overlook because they're so focused on pure damage output.
So it's not just about hitting hard.
No. Smite's primary function in profitable PKing is actually resource denial. It drains the target's prayer points based on the damage you deal.
So when their prayer hits 0,
Their protects item prayer fails, their protection prayers fail, everything fails.
so you're not physically stealing their potions or their food, you're just forcing them to burn through their inventory at a crazy rate.
That is the perfect way to put it. You are accelerating their consumption. If I'm fighting you and I'm using Smite, you have to make an impossible choice.
Do I protect myself from damage, or do I protect my most expensive item?
Exactly. And if you're forced to chug prayer pots and eat food faster than I am, I've basically already won the fight through attrition. The fight is often decided long before the final hit.
That makes perfect sense. So you've got them locked down, drained of resources. Now you need the tools for the final blow, the essential PK kit.
Right. You need 3 non-negotiable abilities to secure the kill. First, you need lockdown. That's Ice Barrage.
Freezing them in place.
Exactly. It requires 94 magic, but lower tier freezes work too. It prevents them from running away.
And the ultimate escape prevention.
That would be Teleblock, or TB85 magic.
Yeah.
This spell stops the target from teleporting out for several minutes. It forces them to fight or run on foot.
Okay, so they're frozen, they can't teleport. Now for the KO, the burst damage.
That's where your spec weapons come in. We're talking rapid, high-hitting special attacks. The 2 most common are the Dragon Dagger Special Attack, DDS, and the Granite Maul, G-Maul.
And you use these for a quick finish.
A very quick finish. The G-Maul is especially good because you can cue its special attack right after another hit, so it's this incredibly fast burst of damage that they just can't eat through in time.
So lockdown with barrage, escape prevention with TB, and burst damage with DDS or G-Maul. That's the core combo.
That's the foundation of almost every successful high-profit PK.
All right, so peaking is strategic hunting. We need to be where the action is.
Yeah.
In 2025, where is the meta concentrating all this player activity?
There are 3 main areas. First, you have the dedicated PvP worlds. These are always hot, especially around hubs like the Grand Exchange or Lumbridge. Lots of no honor fights there.
It's just chaos.
Pretty much. Second, you have the bounty hunter rotations, which is a structured minigame we'll get into. And third, you have the standard wilderness worlds, which are sort of unofficially designated by the community.
So you need to know which world is for PVMers and which is for PKers.
You do. You have to scout it out, see where the action is.
Before we move on, we have to talk about the tech stack for this. This isn't just a vanilla game experience anymore, is it? You need tools.
Absolutely not. If you're serious, you need to manage a ton of information. Tools like the Alt1 Toolkit or specific plugins within RuneLite are essential.
Like what?
A TB timer is crucial. You need to know exactly when your opponent can teleport. And a loot tracker, so you can calculate your profit mid-trip and decide if continuing a fight is worth the risk.
And you mentioned one specific item for the Rev Caves that's non-negotiable.
The Charged Bracelet of Ethereum. It's critical for anyone in the Rev Caves. It protects you from the Rev's damage, but more importantly, it's a quick teleport out. It can save you from a huge team.
A get-out-of-jail-free card.
Essentially, yes. Its cost is completely justified by the safety it provides.
Okay, finally, let's talk account builds. You can't just jump in with a main account with balanced stats. It's all about specialization.
It is. Your build dictates your combat bracket, your opponents, your entire strategy. The trade-off is always maximizing your offense while keeping your overall combat level as low as possible.
So you can dominate weaker players in the same bracket. Let's define the main types. We've got pures, zerkers, and mains.
Correct. Pures are the most common low-level PKers. They keep their defense stat at 1, intentionally.
A glass cannon.
The ultimate glass cannon. They have high attack and strength, so they hit incredibly hard for their combat level. They dominate the low brackets.
Then you have zerkers.
Or Zerker Pures. They allow themselves 45 defense. This lets them wear powerful gear like Burrow's gloves and a Berserker helm. It's a great balance of defense and offense while still keeping their combat level pretty low.
And finally, the mains.
These are your maxed accounts. 99 in all combat stats. They are necessary for deep wilderness, especially against other maxed players or when you're targeting high-level PVM bosses. You sacrifice bracket efficiency for just raw power.
This brings us to the entry point for the learner. Let's focus on minimizing those losses while maximizing early gains. What are we defining as low risk for gear?
We're defining low risk as a gear investment of somewhere between, say, 100,000 GP and 1 million GP per trip.
So if you die, it stings, but it doesn't break your bank.
Exactly. But for a competent player, these methods can still pull in a surprising 5 to 15 million GP an hour.
Let's start with the breadwinner then. The undisputed champion of low-risk profit, Rev Caves PKing.
The Rev Caves are a perfect ecosystem for this. They're located in level 17 to 40 wilderness, and crucially, they're a singles plus environment.
What does singles plus mean?
It means only one player can attack you at a time, but a second player can tag in to help if the person you're fighting is also already under attack. It creates this really interesting dynamic.
And what's a typical low-risk setup look like here for, say, a pure?
A great example is a 60 attack pure setup. Your total risk is around 400k to 500k GP. You'd bring a dragon dagger for the spec, a rune crossbow with cheap broad bolts, a basic setup for ice barrage, and critically rings of recoil.
Or the Ring of Suffering, right? Why is that so important?
The Ring of Suffering, or ROS, is an upgraded ring of recoil. It reflects damage. And think about it. The PvMers farming revs are constantly taking damage from the monsters.
So the ring adds chip damage.
More than chip damage. It often secures a kill when they least expect it. It dramatically increases your kill speed.
So what's the actual strategy here? Who's the target?
Your primary target isn't other PKers. It's the mains farming the revs or collecting the high-value artifacts.
And the process.
It's straightforward but needs speed. Freeze them with barrage, bolt them down, then use your DDS spec when they're low health. And you have to be aggressive with Smite to burn their resources.
And what about logouts?
You have to chase them. If you see them freeze and try to disconnect, you keep applying pressure until the kill registers. This method has the highest low-risk potential, easily 5 to 20 million GP per hour.
Okay, method 2. We're moving on from revs to another PVM resource gatherer, Black Chin PKing.
Right. This takes place in the Chin Hunter area, level 32 to 35 wilderness. The targets are players hunting black chin champas, which are extremely valuable.
And they're focused on trapping, not on watching their backs.
Precisely. They're sitting ducks. And you can use the same pure setup from revs, but if you happen to have a crossbow, it becomes much, much easier.
Why crossbow specifically?
It's designed for the wilderness. It has a passive effect that gives a huge damage and accuracy boost against anything in the wilderness. Players, monsters, anything. It turns a good setup into a dominant one.
And a big part of the profit here is the free loot, right?
Yeah, exactly. When a chin hunter dies, their whole inventory of caught chins often scatters on the ground. You can end up looting more from the ground than from their actual gear. The profit here is usually in the 4 to 10 million GP an hour range.
Next up, we have Dragon Farming PKing. This sounds almost too simple to be profitable.
The targets are lower level, often bots or new players at Green Dragons or Lava Isle, but the value comes from the nature of the drops.
Okay, this is where the noted items thing comes back. Explain why that's such a huge deal.
Right, it's the key financial mechanism. These players have noted dragon hides, bones, or scales. They're like certificates.
Instead, physical items.
Exactly. So instead of looting 3 dragon bones and having a full inventory, you can loot a single note for 200 dragon bones that takes up 1 inventory slot.
That completely changes the efficiency. Less banking, more PKing.
That's it. And you can do this with budget setups. Rune Scimitar, a simple range switch. You'll often find multi-combat spots too, which are great for small groups. Profit here is usually 3 to 8 million GP an hour.
And finally, the easiest entry point, but maybe the trickiest to execute safely, low wildy luring.
This is the absolute easiest entry in terms of gear. We're talking 2 to 6 million GP per hour, perfect for a beginner. It's all done in low-level wilderness near Edgeville or on PvP worlds.
So what's the luring strategy, and how do you pull off a skull trick to secure the big loot?
The target is usually a noob or a bot. The whole strategy is about deceit, specifically the skull trick.
Which is designed to make them risk all their gear.
Exactly. Normally, you protect your 3 most valuable items when you die. If you're skulled, you lose everything except what's protected by the protect item prayer.
And the trick is to get them skulled, not you.
Right. You bait them into attacking you under specific conditions that make them get the skull. Like, you attack with a weak item, they auto-retaliate, and you quickly switch to a high-value one, and their retaliation skulls them. It's devious, but it secures their full loot.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting. We're moving from the chaos of the wildy to a structured, competitive environment with guaranteed rewards. Bounty Hunter.
This is a major change of pace and a huge part of the 2025 meta. Bounty Hunter is in Daemon's Crater on specific PvP worlds. You get assigned a target, And killing them earns you points and gear rewards no matter what they're risking.
And the meta has shifted, right? It's not just about the kill anymore.
Not at all. It's shifted heavily towards the points and the rewards they unlock. The profit potential is extremely high, 10 to 30 mil an hour, but it requires a bigger risk commitment, usually 1 to 10 mil per trip, because you're fighting other dedicated PKers.
Let's break down the combat brackets. A low CB pure, what's their game?
Low CB pures, maybe 50 to 80 combat. It's all no honor or NH-style fighting. Rapid switches, special attacks. They use freezes and DDS or Gmaul specs to get the kill before their own low hit points become a problem.
Then you move up to the mid-CB Zerker. How does that 45 defense change things?
That 45 defense lets them wear much better armor, so they take less damage. They use heavier weapons like the Armadyl Godsword or AGS or the Darok set. The fights are longer, more about outlasting the opponent with quick switches.
And the top tier, high CB mains. What does deep bracket dominance look like?
This is max risk, max gear. Sanguinesti staff that heals you, Inquisitor's armor, Nightmare staff. We're talking lightning fast 6-way, 10-way switches. It's about pure mechanical skill and resource superiority.
The real secret to the Prophet and Bounty Hunter isn't just the loot, though. It's the high-value flip. How do points turn into 50 million GP payouts?
The points are pure gold. You save them up and you can buy high-value tradable gear pieces that are super rare. Vesa, Zuriel, Statius, Torva.
The old school gear?
The classics. And flipping one of those pieces can net you 50 million GP or more. That's where the sustained profit of Bounty Hunter comes from. It's a points-to-GP conversion model.
So it's less about immediate loot and more about market arbitrage based on your skill.
That's a great way to put it. It's a structured economy. And there's a crucial tip here. Halos.
Halos.
You buy them with points, and they give you endless supplies, runes, ammo for use inside the minigame. It massively reduces your operating costs and boosts your net profit per hour.
So we've got low-risk wildly hunting and structured minigames down. But to get to those astronomical profits, we have to go deep into the wilderness.
Right. If we're talking about sustaining 20M plus GP per hour, we're entering expert territory. This means setups risking 20 million GP or more per trip. But there's an intermediate step.
Which is?
Medium risk hybrid and tribrid PKing, risking somewhere between 5 and 20 million GP.
Okay, let's start with the pure hybrid. What's that style all about?
Extreme speed. Rapid style switching DDS spec to a crossbow bolt to an ice barrage, all in a couple of seconds. You see this at the GE on PvP Worlds or in Brev Caves. The 2025 meta shows even budget hybrids are pulling in 50 million GP in loot per week, just from sheer volume.
Sounds mechanically intense.
It is. It demands total mastery of your inventory. A hybrid is doing a 6-way switch in under 2 seconds.
And scaling up from there, we hit the main tribrid. Where are they operating?
Deeper Wilderness, Chaos Temple, the Wilderness Agility course. They're targeting other high-level players training agility or bones. The strategy is massive burst damage. An AGS spec combined with a Sanguinesti staff freeze. It's higher risk, but consistent. 8 to 15 million GP an hour.
And there's one more specialized method that always makes for good clips. The Darok's Rusher.
This is a very specific, high-risk, high-reward playstyle. It relies on the Darok set effect.
The lower your health, the harder you hit.
Exactly. So they intentionally lower their own HP to maximize their damage, then rush in with the Darok's axe hit and Granite Maul specs. It can hit over 80 damage almost instantly.
What if it fails?
If they don't get the kill in the first few seconds, they're almost guaranteed to die. It's a huge gamble. Maybe 5 to 12 million GP an hour.
Now we enter the truly deep wild. The territory where that 50 million GP per hour potential becomes real.
This is where we shift to targeting wildy bosses. The new Caves Archeo, Spindel, Calvarian, or the deep multi-combat areas like Callisto.
And the profit isn't from the boss itself.
No, the astronomical profit comes from looting the unique best-in-slot drops that the PVMers were trying to get. The Voidwaker pieces, the specialized rings.
So you're not fighting the boss, you're fighting the players who just got the loot.
Correct, you're interrupting them. And at this level, clan teams are almost essential. You need designated roles. A tank, damage dealers, a blocker to stop teleports. It's a coordinated heist.
The Deep Rev caves are still a powerhouse at high risk too. What's the difference there?
The gear, the intent, and the target. At high risk, you're targeting artifact haulers who've been in the caves for a long time. You're using expensive specialized gear like Vigora's chainmace or crossbow to secure those massive hauls.
And Vigora's chainmace, like crossbow, gets a big damage boost in the wildy.
A massive boost. It's devastating. You're looking at 15 to 30 million GP an hour with that kind of setup.
Finally, Another deep, wildy spot.
Hmm.
Mage Arena and Chaos Elemental.
Very deep. Level 54 plus Wilderness. The strategy there involves using anti-mage specs to kill players who are doing the Mage Arena minigame or farming the Chaos Sealy. A steady 10 to 25 million GP an hour.
And all of this high-risk activity really culminates in group or clan peaking, doesn't it?
It does. This is less a combat style and more a business model. The core concept is controlling high-value areas with a large team, maybe 10 or more people.
So you lock down a world.
You lock it down, you minimize the chance of anti-peekers, you maximize kill security, you cover all escape routes. The profit model shifts to pure volume and certainty.
So instead of one lucky 20 mil trip, you're securing 50 mil plus hauls constantly and splitting them.
Exactly. The sustained hourly rate for every member becomes incredibly high. Coordination is everything.
We've covered the main pathways. Let's look at a few specialized niche methods and, critically, how to manage all this risk.
Right. A fascinating niche method is Wildy Slayer combined with anti-peeking.
A double profit model. You get paid to do your Slayer task, and you get paid to kill the people who try to kill you.
That's it. Crystalia's Slayer tasks actually buff your drop rate from revs. So you gear up to kill your Slayer monster, but also to fight back against any PKers. You get their loot and your improved Slayer drops.
That's brilliant. What about something simpler?
Resource peaking. This targets miners or crab fishers in the resource area, which is deep in the wildy. The profit is modest, maybe 3 to 7 mil an hour, but the targets are easy, and the loot is valuable noted items like runite ore.
And for the absolute beginner with zero bank.
F2P peaking. Free to play. Use basic rune gear in Edgeville. The profit is low, 1 to 3 mil an hour, but it's the perfect no-risk environment to practice your switches and mechanics.
Let's wrap this with the most important part. Practice and risk management. This all starts with financial liquidity, right?
It does. To even think about medium to high risk peaking, you need a bank of at least 50 to 100 million GP, minimum.
And that's not for one setup.
No, that's for your gear stock. The ability to instantly replace what you lose without stress and to have the cash to flip the valuable items you loot.
And where do you practice without risking that 100 mil bank?
Risk-free environments. Last Man Standing, LMS, is the undisputed champion. It forces you to learn Treybrud mechanics under pressure with zero risk of loss. Every single good peaker has spent hours in LMS.
And watching others helps too, I imagine.
Absolutely. Watch successful peakers like Otoblock or Coop. Study their positioning, their switch speed, their decision-making.
But wait, if I'm using Smite so aggressively, doesn't that mean I'm burning through my own expensive potions? It's a constant cost-benefit analysis.
That's the friction. You're exactly right. The high-level decision is whether the target's risk outweighs the cost of your supplies. You have to be willing to eat into your bruise if it guarantees a kill worth 10 times your investment.
Which leads to golden rules of risk mitigation.
Always, always use the protect item prayer. Second, avoid sculling unless you're doing a specific lure. And third, use the Ferox Enclave for quick, free heals to minimize downtime.
We've covered so much. If you had to give one piece of advice for scaling up, what would it be?
Mastery over breadth. The worst mistake is trying 5 different methods poorly. Master 1. Master low-risk revs until it's second nature. Then and only then do you scale up in complexity and risk.
And to summarize the current 2025 meta for someone jumping in right now.
Pures still dominate the low CB brackets. In Bounty Hunter, Halos are considered overpowered because they kill supply costs. And the Wildy bosses and Rev Caves are still the most profitable spots, but they are incredibly contested. You need a team.
This has been a serious deep dive. We've covered the skills, the gear, Smite, Teleblock, and the strategic scaling from low risk to high risk.
And what's so fascinating, really, is that high-risk peaking isn't just about combat skill. At its core, it's applied financial risk management. It's knowing when to commit your expensive resources for a potential 20 million GP return. The best players treat their inventory like a high-risk portfolio.
Which raises an important question that goes beyond the game. In a high-stakes environment where luck is always a factor, how much does that psychological control, that ability to stay calm after a 10 million GP death, or to aggressively chase a 50 million GP target without hesitating, contribute to hitting that astronomical 50 million GP per hour hot streak? Something for you to mull over as you sharpen your DDS.
Indeed. Until next time, we'll be here, continuing the deep dive.